Hello everyone, today we are gonna use Blender 2.9 to make a bundled box and a head painted. After that, we're gonna import it to Unity and to Unreal Engine 4. So let's begin. First, let's select the box and change it to edit mode by pressing tab. And then you can see there's a tab in the edit mode. You can see the different selection options. One is for the vertex select, the second is for the line select, and third is for the face select. So if we want to do the loop card, you could choose either vertex, line, or face. So we choose for the line, and we choose it and Ctrl R and make it in the middle of the face and double click it. And then it will have the loop cards with different lines. And second, we want to have another loop cards and the top face, and another one, and side face again. So it's like this, like the simple form of the magic cube. And then we want to do some deform by manually. At first, we change it to vertex mode. We could click it or just press number 1 or number 2 for the line, number 3 for the face. So we just press 1 for the vertex selection, and then we could choose, like this. I press G to grabbing it. If a G is a X, just around the X. If a G and Y, it will go along with the y-axis. If a G with a Z, it will go up with the z-axis. So we wanted to have some deform, and so we want to just first we change it a little bit up, GZ. And for this one also GZ, but a little bit down, but because we want to have some kind of irregular deform shape. So for this one is GZ a little bit up, and this one GZ a little bit down and out, a little bit in for this one, a little bit out, a little bit. Let me see, up, down, yeah. Then this one is a little bit down, and then we just go for the middle line and go down a little bit. This is 1. If we press 1, this will be the front view. If we press 3, this will be on the right side of the view. If we go 7, it will be on the top. And go to 9, it will be on the bottom. Another one is if you go first, go 1, and then you press 9, it will go back. It will go back view. You go 9 again, this will go back to front view. If you go back to 7 and press 9, it will switch from top and bottom. This is quite interesting. As 3 and 9, it will be switching from right view to left view. This is very handy if you press the numbers on the number pad. So this one we see on the 3 on the right side of the view, and we also just to make sure the deform is like and what the location what we want. And second, we want to make it we choose 9 selection and make it go down a little bit, GZ, and down, because we want like this is a stretch down. And for the side view, we go GX because we want to follow this line, and this one also would do, but a little bit different for the axis. We'll go GY because we want to go inside around the green. It's the y-axis. And for this one also, it's for GY and a bit input. And this one we go GX and inside. Also, it's the same thing. And we have the first view, and then we choose which is front view and change this because this is a cover. We want a little bit different latitude and go a little bit higher. So we could GZ. It's easy to go GZ, but we want it to they have different faces. We use E. That's this one, extrude. Or you can just press E and then call Z to go up. Yeah, this is quite different. Let's go back. We choose this two and press this extrude extrusion and go up. This is something manually, but if you use something very convenient, we just pick them. We press E and call, and then press Z. It's around the up. So we don't want this face go up too high. Just that's for the cover for the the cardboard paper. So it's like a little bit higher, like 3 centimeters. But we don't have to be that accurate because it's not precision modeling. But we want that looks a little bit realistic because it's a little bit like the box. But for this tutorial, we want to make everything simple. Okay, we'll finish this box, and next one we wanna add a paper and like a note on top of the box. So we switch back to object mode. We choose object mode. You could also use tab, go back to the object mode, and then you could see this kind of dashed circle. This is called the 3D cursor. The 3D cursor means where you want and this the new object, and it's like an anchor for any origin. If there's a origin here, like this one, it's like in the middle, like the axis like 0, 0, 0. So the origin of the box is 0, 0, 0. But sometimes you want to change it somewhere, and you pick up a location. It's here, but it's like unpredictable. But if you shift right click on the model, it will attach to the model surface. And this means 3D cursor is on somewhere of the surface you want to pick. It's really depends on the screen view and the 3D view on the screen. And then from the screen view, basically the camera view, they have the raycast to the model. Then they have intersection. The point of the intersection is a place where the 3D cursor will be placed on. So at this point, our screen view, or also the camera view, they have this intersection point and this location. So we pick it here. But if we want to change this origin to here, you could easily just press Shift S and then choose selection to cursor. Then it will go to the place and out of the origin place. But we want to go back, Ctrl Z, and Shift S again. We could choose, say, cursor to origin. So this cursor will go back to the origin, and it will be the world origin, as it's also called 0, 0, 0. Okay, and we cause here. We shift right click here, and we Shift A, and a new model. This way, because we want to make it paper, so we just choose a plane. And then we press S to scale it down. Press S and press R to have the rotation. Because if we just rotate it, we press R. There's nothing direction directed. It's quite hard to make it face to the right direction. So usually we choose R and pick up the rotation axis. In this point, we pick up Y a little bit, and it will go up like this. We can choose the 3 and C, and just to choose G. Let's be up, but this still is quite away from surface. How could we make it more like attached to the box surface? It's easy. We just have some loop cuts of this plane and make it fit for the surface of the box. And first of all, we go to the edit mode. Make sure you select this plane and press tab, and just to press Ctrl R and just scroll down, scroll up for how many cuts you want. Basically, for this example, we want to have the 3 cards here. And you don't want to, if you don't move it, just to press ESC, it will go to the place. Another way, you can also change after you scroll down or scroll up the loop counts. Here, you see here, this option panel, loop count and slide. And you could choose how many cuts you want. Here it's a 3, 1, 2, 3. And here it's a number of cuts. You could increase it. It's like from 3 to 4, it's become 4. And it's also 5. And it's easy to decrease it from 5 to 3. Also, yeah. And when you done this and you click and anywhere on the screen, then it will confirm the setting. And you cannot go back to it except you Ctrl Z a lot. Then, but this panel, they won't show up again. So we do this again. Yeah, double click it. And then we want to just make sure it can easily change it. But first of all, we want a little bit move the location of the paper. So we just move it up a little bit here and a little bit GZ, or so just to change the handle of the access control. At this point, and it's quite easy, you could change the vertices. So in the edit mode, you choose a vertex selection and pick up these vertices, and then you just make it down and like this. And you want to make it more interesting, so you don't have to totally make them follow the flow of the surface. Make them up, a little bit down, has some kind of different stretches. So, and then you just press A to select all of them and go up and change it. Go up. Because we want to have that like paper, it's like folded a little bit. It's like around another side of surface of the box. So we might move to up here. Yeah, this is rough, and then we go back to the 7, number pan 7, and go to the top view and make them match the flow of the lines. And see here, yeah, it's pretty much here like this. Yeah, it's a little bit up, but it's not matter. And we put it here. And have another one in the middle, another loop cut. Yeah, just a little bit up. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like that accurate. Yeah, this looks good. Yeah. Yeah, this is what we've done for the model itself. But if we want to make it more interesting, like colors, we want to have the textures. But before that, we need to smooth out the normals, because you see here, there's a bunch of like the print of the different faces. And you know what's the split line of the model, but we want it not that obvious, like to smooth them out, make them more looks natural and silky. So we pick up one of them and right click and use shade smooth. You see, we have the shade smooth, but the look looks quite awkward. It's like because we are going to smooth out all normals, but we don't want that happen because we want have the normal here, and then they only have the normal here, and smooth them out. How to solve it? We go to the object data properties and change the normals, make them auto smooth. If this doesn't look what you want, you could change the angle, like this one, to make them more like what you want. But here we use the default value 30 degrees. And same thing for here, we just choose shade smooth, and they have that thing again. So like this one, then we do, this is what we want. Yeah, and at this point we have done the modeling and it smooths out the normal. And next one we want to do the UV to prepare for the texture painting. How to do the UV? It's very easy in Blender. And also we choose one object and go to the UV editing. And we choose any, the vertex selection or line selection, press 2 or face, either, and press A to all select them. You can see here, this is a UV texture island. And the UV island, you have the stretch out from 0 to 1. And then in this 0 to 1 region, you could put your UV island in it. And this is how we do for the UV. And this have, then if we have all selection of the model faces, and we press U to make sure in this view, not in this view, we press U. There will this pop-up menu. But in the first, we call the unwrap. When unwrap happens, it will something like this. Because this is not obvious for the box, but in the future tutorials, if the model become more complicated, the unwrap will be very obvious to see the difference. And we'll use something different ideas like mark scene to cut out a different island to make them split it, and to make sure the UV is better stretched and expanded. But for the box, we don't have to do like scene marker, because this is quite simple. For showcase, we just use the default UV, and then for this UV unwrapping is done, and then we do the UV unwrapping for the paper. It's quite simple as well, because it's like just the plane and some little bit change for the vertex, so it's nothing big changes. So it's like this. It's quite simple like this. Combine these two projects together for the next step for texturing. So we combine these two objects using Ctrl J to combine them into one, and we call the box paper combo. Yeah, and then we go back to the edit mode and choose A, or choose A. Just make sure if you want to just like the box selection, they won't select all the faces, all the back faces. They won't. You won't see from the view. They won't select it. If you want to select all the faces, either press A or in the X-ray mode, and then use box selection to select them all. And in this case, we use just A to select all of them. But in the UV item panel, you could see UVs are overlapped. But how could we make them separated and in right scale? As we see here, this is big, this is small. It's easy in Blender because it provides a function called the average island. Then it will automatically scale the UV island to the right size. So we choose UV in a menu item, and we choose average island scale. Yeah, see here, this is big, this is small. This is quite match for the look in the model view. Then at this point, because the UV island, it's like exceeded from the UV region, because we call it the UV region is from 0 to 1. But this one is quite big. It's like minus 0.3 to like 1.4 or 5. But we want scale it down to the correct UV region. But we don't want to do that manually one by one because we can easily do it later. But at this point, we want to do it automatically. So in the UV editor, they provide another function called UV, stack them, called UV pack islands. This will pack them into the right position. And at this point, you could easily change it. You could choose GX, GY, or GS to make scale down, scale up, and GX, GY to move it. And this one, same thing. Yeah, it depends on you. You make it as your preference. At this point, we have done the UV, and we are pretty much ready for texturing. So for texturing, we'll use hand-painted texturing. And there's a couple ways of doing texturing. You could just use the materials. You could export the UV image to Photoshop, or you could also export this model with the UV map to Substance Painter or Armor Paint or Crystal Mixer. They have different model preparation requirements, but the easiest way in Blender is to choose texture painted, because if you want your model to be more stylized and you want to make them more like original as your hand paint look, the texture paint is the best choice. You can also do it in other softwares, but it's much easier and direct and convenient to do in Blender. Yeah, because it's built-in function. So we do it in Blender. So how do we do it? And it's quite simple. You can see here there's another tab called Texture Paint. In the Texture Paint, you see the model become a pink, because if it's pink, it means there's no texture on it. You have to add a base color, and then you could use the brush to paint the color on that. So first, we'll add another base color for the box. On the right panel, you could go to the Active Tool and Workspace settings. Here you can see there's a called Texture Slots, and they called Mode Material, because this texture is based on the material here, and in the default mode, and then it will add the color to the material. So at this point, we'll add the base color. Since we could change the name to Blended Box Texture, and we change the width to 2K. You can also choose 1K, but we usually choose 2K. And change the color to like a little bit like yellow. But this is done to be matched that well at this point, because you can always change that. Yeah, let's match a little bit, match the color of the box. Yeah, something like this. And we choose uncheck the alpha and choose and click OK. Yeah, it's like this. You can see here. And default the viewport shading is a little bit dark. We go back to the material view shading. It will become more brighter. It's more like the realistic color of that. At this point, you just paint on it. And if you want to make this one to be exported to other game engine like Unity and RE engine, you have to make sure you are painting on the texture image. How to do it? It's easy, because when you down the blended box texture base color here, it will automatically have an image cache and memory. You just need to note that in a UV editor like this, choose image icon and choose blended box texture. It will load it in the UV editor view. At this point, when you draw something, and the image view, it will reflect the change on the modeling view. So like this. Yeah. So we want to have this little bit change for the gradient of the box, like the on the top is a little bit brighter, and on the bottom it's like a little bit darker. So we want to make it happen. So we do it. And we use brush and change the corner a little bit, like pick up the corner picker into the corner that's 100% match the corner of the texture, and make it a little bit darker. Change the brightness a little bit down, and press F to increase the brush size. And we go here and a little bit use the side of the brush, because this is gradient brush, and just a little bit click here. And you can see a difference. Yeah, don't do too much of the shadow, because if it's too much, you could see that it's not very realistic. And always remember, the world less is more. Just a little bit is enough. And we need to add some little bit highlight and edge. We press down, we scale down the brush size, and change the color a little bit brighter. Yeah, like this. Don't do too much. Just choose it a little bit up. Yeah, don't do too much. Just a little bit. It's not that obvious. Just at the edge. Yeah, it's very trivial. And here, because it's edge of the cover, so we need to make it a little bit darker. So we change back to the darker side. Yeah, then we do up to the edge. Yeah, you don't have to make them perfect. Yeah, it's a little bit out. So what we want. Yeah, this kind of exceeding is acceptable, because make them more like the real. But still, don't do too much of that. Make a little bit dirt. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Don't do too much. Quite slow. Yeah, make small. Yeah, this is enough. And then we want to make the paper. Yeah, because paper is white, so we change the corner to white. Go up to brighter and change the hue to 0, saturation to 0, and make them white. And scale up the brush. Control and make it roomy, just for the paper. Yeah, I want to have the gradient. Yeah, a little bit more. Highlight. Up a little bit. Up a little bit. See here. Yeah, it looks not bad, right? Okay, then we want to write some letters to make sure this is a note. you could just right here, Control, and change it to black and write it down. Let's see what's how this looks like. Okay, let's go down. We'll see if it's here. Please. Yeah, this is how it look. And this is so we have done the texturing. Okay, before exporting to Unity and Unreal Engine, you need to save the texture image to a hard disk. We choose here, which we choose save as, and they call the bend the box texture. We don't have to change that too much, so just save as image, and then go back to the layout model, and we pick up this model and use export FBX and call it bundled box. And here is quite important. We just choose a mesh, select the object. Now we don't have to change anything. Yeah, bake animation, you don't have to use that. Amateur geometry. Make sure apply unit. Yeah, just choose export FBX. After exported the box to the hard disk, we import the model to the Unity. Make sure the model looks what it wants, and the material, and then we import the texture and drag it to the box view. Then we could see the box that wants is here. The same thing is quite similar to the Unreal Engine. Just let's go to the Unreal Engine, and we change the library and launch it. So we create a new game and choose a third person. Go up and make it bundled box. And we change the filter. Look to the list view, and we add a new folder called the content, and add a new folder called model. In the model, we import the FBX we just made it. Import into it. I'll make sure this select skeleton mesh is not checked. Another one we don't have to change too much. Just import all. And drag it up. Yes, this is what we want here. Yeah, this is what we have done today. Thank you, everybody. If you like it, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you.